Probably one of the easiest stories is my stepson. He came out of college and trying to figure out kind of what he really wanted to do. His dad was in construction and he really wanted to be in construction at some level. That's kind of what he wanted to do. So what we did is we mapped out, he and I sat down and for about 3 or 4 hours, we mapped out really a 5-year plan. And the 5-year plan was really headed toward what he really wanted to do. So, and it helped his learning curve, right? So what you do is he spent 2 years working for a company, and it was like, who should I be interviewing with? And why should I take this job over that job? And I said, okay, well, here's really the game plan. The game plan should be, where do you want to go? What's the ultimate goal? Okay, the ultimate goal is to start your own company and your own construction company. And so what we did is we mapped out a plan, and we did it once a year. Here's the first job you should take. And this is, a job that's in the industry, and it was a job working for Collier. And Collier basically, he was doing maintenance. So any kind of calls, he was in charge of really anybody that had a problem. He would be the guy that they called in terms of the building that Collier, rented or leased or whatever Collier did. And, if they had any kind of inventory issues or any of that kind of stuff, Mike was really the guy that they called. And he helped them facilitate all kinds of issues. If they had a problem with the, an upstairs bathroom or whatever else, he would be the guy to call in, a maintenance guy. And so he was the facilitator for all of these facilities, right? And he would be the guy you call, low-level position at Collier to handle all of these kind of problems. And what it did is it gave him some experience in the industry outside of the experience he had with his dad growing up. He's now getting bigger real-world experience with Collier in the industry that he wants to be in. Next job that he had an opportunity to take, and it was like 2 or 3 directions. And so what you do is you decide what's going to get you closer to what you really want to do. The next job was a company that basically he went to auction and bought houses for this company and then set up all of the subcontractors to come in and get the house ready to sell. So it would be a large company that came in and they would go at auction, buy these houses, and Mike would come in and facilitate all the rework, minimal rework as necessary to get the house ready to sell quickly. So buy it at 100,000, put in 20,000, sell it at 150,000. That was the game. And he was turning, probably for this company, he was turning, let's say, a house a week or, 5 or 6 houses a month or something like that. And what that did is now he was able to, because he was going to go into doing like kitchen reworks, bathroom reworks and things like that. So one step closer to what he was going to do, right? Wanted to do eventually. So he's getting real world experience from somebody else. They're paying for it, okay? Mike's doing his job and doing it well. He was one of the top producers in the area. And what he now had is he had an opportunity to learn the industry from the inside and move forward. So one of the things we've talked about too is learning curve, right? So what it did is it flattened his learning curve. If you did this on your own, your learning curve is straight up. You're making all the mistakes on your money, okay? The learning curve that he now had was more like this, because now he's learning through experience. He has a boss and his boss is teaching him, and he's learning the industry on somebody else's dime. So when he was going to start his own business, and this whole process took about probably 4 to 5 years, maybe, and in that time frame. And each year we would talk about kind of next steps. Now And I basically said exactly what we've talked about, right? Have a hard date. Have a hard date when you're going to start your company, and do all the prep ready and be ready. And one of the things that he really needed to do is he needed to have a licensed contractor. So he needed to study all the rules and regulations to be a licensed contractor. So when you start on your own, you can do small jobs under somebody else's contractor's license, but you have to have that guy willing to take that chance with you. And Mike had that guy, so he worked 2 years under somebody else's contractor's license, paid him a fee, I'm sure, and then started, got his own contractor's license, and now he is doing very, very well as his own, and he's probably 30 years old. But we've had a plan together for the last, 7-8 years. And once a year, once every 18 months now, he comes in, and big issues that he's running into, what to do next, how to scale, how to take his company and make it a bigger company, how do you handle cash flow? All those things that we've talked about over the last 2 days is, when someone doesn't pay you on time, what do? Okay? You have to have that honest conversation, and you have to be good enough to have leverage. Okay? So if you're really good and you are working with one major player, okay, investors or something like that want to do the same thing he was doing before, come in, buy a house, they bring Mike in, Mike cleans it all up and refreshes it. You have to, and they're not paying you on time. What do? So those become questions, and I became his mentor. And that's what you do. You talk to a guy that is where you want to be. And he's already done what you've done. And it didn't happen to be, in construction, it just happens to be, I know how to handle these issues because I've had 35 years of problems come up, and it's the same problems. People go, well, you're in the food business. It doesn't really relate to the construction business. It does. It's an identical thing. They're all interrelated. Business is interrelated.